Welcome to the video. My name is Marty Shenkman, and I'm joined by a smart colleague, Bill Singer, and I'll let Bill introduce himself in a second. Before we start, really important topic. Many people mistakenly think they're a parent, and they're not. We're going to let Bill educate you on that. Keep in mind, all these video clips are for educational purposes only. In this case, especially in the case of this topic, state laws differ significantly. Do not take any action based on this video without talking not just to an attorney, but an attorney that knows the applicable state law, because it may not even be your state. Bill, why don't you tell everyone who you are, and then let's jump into this really important topic that needs more attention.
Hi, my name is Bill Singer. I am an attorney in Belmead, New Jersey, where I've been practicing for 50 plus years. I specialize in representing and counseling families of unusual configurations, LGBTQ families, polyamorous, etc.
And by the way, folks, the non-traditional family unit is the majority of family units in our country. This is not a rare topic by any stretch. Bill, why is it so important that you be characterized as a parent legally?
It's important to be characterized as a parent legally because it can have consequences for you and your children, whether they're going to be eligible for benefits, subject to various tax laws, and for estate planning purposes.
And how does, why don't you explain what art is and how that could affect the proper characterization of somebody as a parent or not?
Infertility, whether it be medical or social infertility, are big issues in our country, and many people use assisted reproductive technology techniques in order to create family, whether it is gamete donation or in vitro fertilization, embryo donation. People create families all sorts of ways, and it's very important that the people who expect to be the legal parents get validation that they are legal parents.
And let's talk about three issues that you identified where properly being characterized as a legal parent could be critical. The first one was Social Security. Maybe you can explain that.
Sure. Uh, a parent would like to have their Social Security benefits available for their child should they become disabled or die when their child is still a minor. In order to get those benefits, you have to prove to Social Security that you are actually a parent. Because they're going to ask. Providing a birth certificate is generally not sufficient for Social Security purposes to prove parentage.
And another issue that we talked about was intestacy. How might not being a parent legally, even though you think you're a parent, affect your child if you die intestate, meaning folks without a will? That's what intestacy
Well,
means.
normally, under most state laws, if you die without a will, your estate passes to your closest living relatives. You may think that your child is your legal child, but if you haven't gone the extra steps to validate that, it may be that your child will be disinherited and not receive any money as a result of your passing.
By the way, folks, the intestacy laws, and this we should do another topic on, Bill, they haven't been updated in a century, centuries, forever. And the entire transformation of what constitutes an American family unit is not reflected, in my knowledge, to my
Mhm.
knowledge, in any of the state intestacy laws. So anybody that is not a traditional family unit, even something as simple as using assisted reproductive technology, you're going to have a problem. What about inheritance tax? That is still exists in a whole bunch of states. What might that mean?
Um, True, there are inheritance taxes where most states either exempt or give a reduced inheritance tax if the person inheriting is your child. But if it turns out that is not legally your child, they're going to pay a much stiffer penalty of inheritance tax, which probably could be exempted if you did the right steps.
And doesn't that get to 25% in some states? It's pretty
Um,
significant.
yes, I
15%?
mean, in New Jersey, for where I practice, it would be 15%. If
That's
there's not,
significant.
yes, 15% of your estate would be swallowed up in state taxes.
Not to mention the cost of dealing with filing a tax return and audit because you didn't understand it and potentially penalties.
Right.
Not a good result. So why are people mistaken so frequently about what constitutes a child? Isn't a birth certificate enough? That was
I was amazed to
that's a
learn. Well,
planted question.
I was amazed to learn myself that the birth certificate, which we use as a currency of our everyday lives, is not proof of parentage. It's really based on hearsay, what was told to vital statistics. And so you shouldn't rely just on the fact that your name is on a birth certificate. Often a spouse of the woman who gives birth is listed as the other legal parent on the presumption that they are the genetic parent. But if they are not the genetic parent, that's a presumption that can be rebutted. Also, a birth certificate will not necessarily be recognized by another state. Under the United States Constitution, it says that judgments of one state will have to be respected in another state, but a birth certificate is not a judgment.
I think that's going to shock a lot of people who assume if it's on the birth certificate, it's resolved. It's not, folks. What are the three ways that typically, because again, state laws differ, but what are the three most common ways somebody can legally qualify as a parent?
If you gestated the child, in other words, carried the child and gave birth, you're considered a parent, unless you have a gestational carrier agreement, for example, and then you may not be a parent just because you gestated the child.
But that requires a proper legal document as well.
Correct, and a proper either pre-birth or post-birth order to again get judicial recognition of who the parents are. A second way you can be a parent is if you contributed genetic material to the creation of the child. It could be by a sperm donation or an egg donation. Again, a birth certificate may not reflect that, but you are a legal parent if you can prove that you are genetically related to the child. I normally tell my clients who are genetically related, I still think you should go an extra step and get a confirmation of parentage by judicial order. Because if you're in an emergency room somewhere and say, well, I really am the parent by genetics, what are you going to start pulling out your DNA records? I mean, you are a parent, but again, validation of parentage is important. And the
And the
final
third and final way?
is to get a court order. And many states have uh, changed their laws to reflect how families are created and made it very much easier for parents to get a parentage order or a judicial or a confirmation of adoption order that would then be subject to full faith and credit in all 50 states. So you have portability, you're free to travel, you're free to move. I've also found that having these orders are very helpful when traveling abroad. I've had clients who were questioned at immigration into a foreign country, like where's the other parent and who's the parent, and if they can pull out a judicial order on their device and show it to the authorities, it just paves the way.
Yeah, I'm old fashioned. I like to carry paperwork for stuff like that too, because you just never know how people are going to react. I want to thank Bill for a really fascinating and informative program. I want to caution anyone listening to this. This is something that is not given enough attention. There's just no question. And I think anybody that has used assistive reproductive technology, these are important questions that you need to talk to an attorney that's skilled in the area and make sure they're addressed. Thank you, Bill. And again, everyone, these comments are for educational purposes only. Please don't take any legal action. And again, keep in mind, state laws do differ significantly, and this area is always evolving. Thank you for joining us.